Welcome to the series Himalayan Inspired Wellbeing Insights. So here I am, being a yogini, having meditated for years and doing my yoga practice and thinking that I'm good and well prepared for this pilgrimage where I will hopefully find more time to meditate and to go deeply within. I did everything to prepare, but not really meditate before my trip because I was so busy getting everything else in order that I turned sort of off my meditation and my yoga practice in order to create more space to prepare my bags and all that. So off I went to India, and going onto the trek, you find occasions in the morning, for example, when everybody wakes up quite early and you have your first chai. That is a silent time where you can just sit and meditate. And don't forget, you're in the most stunning nature. You see the images that I show you in the videos, and who wouldn't just sit and watch and let this nature linger in your soul, right? And become calm and collected and go with the flow and become one with it all. Nah, not for me. I was sitting down, I remember, in one of the camps, in one of the most picturesque places where the Ganga flows at the bottom of the deep hills and the mountains, and you can sit on those boulders and meditate the heck out of it, and most of our group did. And I was sitting there trying to tune in, and I changed within half an hour position 7 times. I looked for a different spot 7 times. It was either the ants, or the wind was too strong, or the sun was too strong, or I was too close to another person and felt that wasn't right, or I felt that I was too cold because the wind is pretty icy. So I changed, and I was sort of watched myself. What are you doing, Elke? And then finally I would sit down and close my eyes and do my rituals on my practice, and I would go nowhere. I had millions of thoughts crossing my mind, from the most mundane thing like I haven't cleaned the dishwasher filter to why can I meditate? Why can I not meditate? I'm here to meditate. Why am I not meditating? It was intimidating and it was excruciating, and I didn't want to share that with my fellows because I felt so embarrassed, because this is a trip to meditate and go within. And then something happened. So I battled with that by myself, and then we go to the last final destination, and that was a push. It was a hard day. We got up at 4:30 in the morning to make I don't know how many meters of altitude to go to a plateau that is called Tapavan, which is the most beautiful high plateau where you can see the 6,000 meter mountains surrounding you, and there's nothing but you and the wind and the beauty of it all. And that's where we hiked up to. Some of us barely made it. It was really hard climbing up through boulder fields and whatnot. And finally, when we went up there, we first had to take our breath and had some lunch and just sat and recovered before we could actually attend to the beauty. And then there he was, Jagat, one of our guides, a guy from the Himalayas who loves taking groups of foreigners to show his Himalayas to them. It's not his Himalayas, but he's breathing the Himalayas. He knows them well. And he's also a meditator. He's deeply devoted to his practice, and he is strong. He would run every track that we did at least twice, making sure that everyone was right. He would take extra backpacks. He would carry people over little creeks if it had to be. He was just amazing, and he was always cheerful when he did it. Whenever he was with us, he was smiling and having a good time. We didn't know how he did that. He was beyond us to be such a cheerful personality, yet so calm. And I watched him as we went on our journey. Whenever he had time, he would just sit down and drop into meditation. and he would be out. He would just be gone in his inside world or with the universe. And then when it was time, he was coming back out and he was doing his duties. So when we finally reached Tapawan, he sat down with us to have lunch, and then all of a sudden, he wouldn't speak much. He spoke, and he said, "You need to learn to balance. You need to learn to follow your duty. Whatever you do with your whole energy and with your whole heart. Being a yogi or being a meditator doesn't mean to go from the world and disappear to the big mountains and stay there and hide from the world. That's not what it means. It means stay in the world and do your job and work hard at it and do the best you can. And catch yourself afterwards to tune in and let go and find your inner serene place, your inner peaceful place, and sit with that for a while before you attend to the next job, to the next duty, to the next thing that matters." And we were like, you know, this in this beautiful, stunning nature, he just shared that wisdom and off he went to do his own thing. And that resonated with me. Going back down, and we had plenty of days to retrack, I would listen to that more often. I would actually watch my step. I would hike, and when I had a moment, I would breathe, I would tune in, I would think about how is my body feeling, how are my emotions, what is happening. And I would just be for a moment. And then I would move on. And sprinkling in that more often helped. What also helped, and that was my second teacher on this trip regarding messing up meditations, was getting really sick. Because afterwards, I had to become really humble. There was no way for me to be like before, being at the front end of the team, hiking fast and with a lot of energy and being up there because I love a challenge and I love physical challenges. No way. After having had fever and dealing with the high altitude, I had to watch my step and my pace. And you're very advised when you hike to find your own pace and to keep at it no matter what. Because you don't want to stop so often. Because if you stop, it's always another energy push to get going again, especially when you go uphill. Keep going step by step. So I needed to find that rhythm. I needed to reinvent myself. I needed to become humble. I needed to understand that hiking in itself is a meditation practice. So I would go one step, breathe, another step, breathe, and I would recite a mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. That's a mantra I have for many, many years. And I would keep on saying that over and over again. And lo and behold, my heartbeat got calmer and stayed at a pace. It didn't spike up anymore so much, which it easily does at high altitude, but it kept going, and so did I. The result of it was I let everyone pass. I said, I'm just going to do my thing. You can go ahead. And they said, no, actually, we like your pace. So there was a whole group of us walking at this slow and steady pace. And we fell into a rhythm together, and that became a meditation in itself. That was another teacher. So coming back to my daily life here, I'm wondering, and I'm inviting you also to wonder of first, can you do whatever you do at a more mindful state, like keeping your pace with what you do instead of running behind? And the second thing is, once you're done with something, can you do a micro break? Can you do a micro break to balance yourself out, to tune in with yourself before you move on to the second and next task. The last bit of this is that actually research tells us this is what we should be doing. And Jagat, our guide, wouldn't have a clue possibly about that research, but this is what a stress cycle does. A stress cycle gets you in action, wants to use the adrenaline that is kicking in when you have a fight or flight, but then it wants to go down into a recovery phase. Once the stress is over, it's asking you and it's releasing hormones for calming down. And how often in my daily life do I not allow myself to have that recovery phase? To calm it down, to pace myself, to rejuvenate, regain energy before moving on to the next.